Hey guys, it's Chris back with another watch review. Today I am reviewing the SBDC033, or as it's better known, the Blumo, the Blue Sumo. So this is blue dial and blue bezel. I have been wearing it for a little over a week. I got it about a week ago, and yep, so far I am really liking this watch. It really does remind me of my SBDC, and at the same time it looks completely different. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is, with most of my reviews, I'm going to tell you what I think first is good about this watch, then I'm going to tell you what I think is okay, and then I'm going to tell you what I don't like about the watch. But first I'm going to run through some specs. So dimensions: 44.5 millimeters in diameter, 13.5 millimeters in height, and 52.5 millimeters lug to lug. It weighs in around 180 grams, fitted to my wrist, which is about 8 inches. Water resistance, we have 200 meters, just like the SBDC061. We have a screwed-in case back, a 6R15 in here, which hacks hand winds and is very accurate to at least plus 10 seconds to minus 10 seconds a day. Lug width is 20 millimeters, and those lugs are drilled, as you can see on the side here, which is a very nice added touch, drilled lugs. We have a slightly domed Hardlex crystal, 2-year warranty, all stainless steel construction. That's case and bracelet, crown and bezel. The bezel is actually an aluminum painted insert. We have a signed crown. You can see there the S for SEIKO, and an extension, diver's extension, much similar to the one that's on the SBDC061 right here. So what I really like the case design. It has a lot of contrasting finishes. It has a great mixture of polished and brush finishes in the case, and you can see here when I bring it pretty close up, it goes from brush to polish to brush. There's some sharp edges here that aren't sharp. They're just, the finish abruptly ends and becomes polished and then brushed. It actually is really faceted. It's very nice, which is very different from the SBDC061. It has a very sort of angular case. The blue dial is really nice. It has applied indices, which is really nice, filled with Lumibrite, and as usual, Lumibrite is pretty fantastic. So Lume is great on this watch. I really like the drilled lugs. Like I said before, it's really easy for changing straps, changing the bracelet, and I don't know why more watch companies don't do that, especially when a lot of people like to use aftermarket straps these days. So changing into a NATO, an aftermarket leather strap on this, obviously that helps unnecessarily scratching the lugs. It's a great added feature. I also like the lug width on this watch. It's 20 millimeters, which I think is fantastic. It's the right choice for this watch. 44 millimeters and with a 20 millimeter lug width. I like that ratio, and I really appreciate that. I think a lot of watch companies go with a thicker lug width, and I just don't really. I feel like that doesn't look as good as this ratio. I also like the signed crown, which is kind of cool on a watch that where SEIKO makes more expensive watches and they don't sign the crown for some reason. I don't know why. Pretty ironic, and it's actually very deeply engraved. It's very nice, and it's like I said, not entirely expected. So that was kind of a surprise for me. Along with the drilled lugs, which I thought was pretty cool. The 6R15, an accurate workhorse, automatic movement. It hacks hand winds. It's slightly more high-end SEIKO's movement. It's generally a very, very good movement and a very accurate movement. So what can I say? The 6R15 is a good movement. What I find just okay about this watch, the bezel I am not a huge fan of. The reason why I don't like it is because of that step in the bezel. You could see it when I move it around. It's where that extra minute track is on the inside. I'm not a giant fan of that. The bezel action on here is very, very good. It is looser than my SBDC, but it isn't very, very tight, and it feels very nice. And it has a very satisfying click. Everything lines up really well. Well, the indices at 12, and you can see the chapter ring don't line up perfectly in that line there. So that's the only thing that I did notice, but again, I'm growing to expect these things with Seiko. Almost every single Seiko I buy has some sort of QC control with the chapter ring and the 12 o'clock indice. I don't know why. It's kind of crazy, but Seiko, if you're listening, you got to really stop doing that. Everybody talks about it. So yeah, I'm not a fan of that bezel. I do like the bezel insert. I do like the bezel. I like that it's sunken into the case. I think that looks really cool because you can see it's higher here and then it sinks into the case. Looks kind of cool. Feels good when you're turning it. You have grip here, and it won't catch on anything on this side because it's sunken in. It's a nice feature. Other than that, the bracelet, the finish on the bracelet and the feel of the bracelet is just okay. I don't think it's incredible. It's not bad. It's that pin and collar that Seiko loves to use. It's not the best. It's not the worst. But it is what it is. At this price point, you're not going to get fully screwed in case bracelet links. So with Seiko, that is. With other companies, you do. But that's the way it is. So that's what's just okay. What I don't like about this watch, I don't like that it's hard Lex, priced around $400 to $500. We should have a sapphire crystal on this watch. It doesn't make sense. We have a 6R15. I feel like if you're going to give it the the upgraded movement, throw a sapphire crystal on it. It doesn't make sense. The hard Lex is good, but it does scratch. No matter what you say, hard Lex is softer than sapphire. And I have scratched hard Lex. I've never been able to scratch a sapphire. That's just the way it is. I don't like the clasp. It's all pressed. It feels cheap. And of course, it comes with that horrible diver's extension, which just works terribly. It's very clumsy, and it's very cheap feeling. I really don't like the diver's extension, the same one that's on the SBDC. But again, everything is pressed here. It does have the two push buttons, which is nice, but it is all pressed, and I'm not a huge fan of that. Last, I'm not a huge fan of the handset. Again, I have a lot of problems with this on other Seikos. This just seems like very similar handset to the Turtle, to the you name it. Seiko just uses these sort of weird, chunky hands, and I'm not a huge fan of them. They're just not that good. I like the second hand, but it's the hour and the minute hand. I don't know if they were maybe a little bit longer. Other than that, I really do think this watch is an incredible value, especially when you compare it to other watches in the Seiko line. It's a good-looking watch. It isn't really a polarizing design, although it does have a lot of really nice features and just a couple of little upgrades. And this watch is an incredible watch. Anyway, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It's much appreciated and very helpful. Thank you for logging on.